I want to go to our hometown of Chicago, which I care a lot about. This is Mayor Johnson receiving criticism and responding to his criticism about the migrant crisis. Play cut 47.
Here's the budget shortfall for 2025, all right? Call for number 2, $982 million. Chicago alone, almost $500 million, the cost of Chicago's migrant crisis under Mayor Brandon Johnson. He defends it. Here's what he said. Listen.
I get the noise around my administration. I'm doing it differently. And I know it feels a certain way, but I'm doing it better. We'll have a balanced budget that invests in people.
Governor, what is going on in our hometown of Chicago?
Well, the mayor doesn't know what he's doing. I call him Lori Lightfoot 2.0 because he's a continuation of what she did to this city. It's a great city with great people in it, and he's got it all upside down. His priorities are all wrong. That budget deficit that you just showed is nearly $1 billion. Half of it is to pay for illegal immigrants who came to America illegally. And he's making hardworking, honest taxpayers in Chicago and homeowners in particular pay higher taxes to pay for that. And Chicago is a sanctuary city. And here's another example of how things are upside down with today's Democratic leaders. For it to be a sanctuary city, they are expressly defying federal law. And it is a crime to harbor immigrants who are in a community illegally. And if this mayor persists in keeping Chicago a sanctuary city and gets in the way of, the Homeland Security effort to do the deportations and the other parts of the agenda that the Trump administration is committed to doing, that's a felony. Those are crimes. And let's see whether or not these mayors like Johnson, this Governor Pritzker, and others who are pandering to the far left of the Democratic Party are going to continue to put the interests of illegal immigrants above ordinary, regular, everyday citizens. And Charlie, the community that gets hurt the worst is the Black community. And here's another example of how the Democratic Party has this sort of soft racism where they really talk a big game but do little or nothing to uplift the lives of everyday Black Americans. And here in Chicago, the South Side in particular, the West Side, neighborhoods I'm very familiar with because I grew up on the West Side myself. Here's an example of putting the interests of immigrants who came illegally above poor people who are struggling to try to make ends meet and to try to get ahead. It just shows you how upside down things are and how the Democratic Party has lost sight of what it's supposed to be about. And it's among the reasons why President Trump did as well as he did among Latino voters and has made historic gains among Black voters, in particular Black men. And I think those trends are going to continue with this kind of bad government that we're getting in Chicago by Brandon Johnson.